There might be a way for Boruto to save his sensei Sasuke Uchiha and the other victims that are trapped in the kilogram trees. What's even more interesting is that it might also be the correct way to kill a Shinju. The source of the Shinju's existence might be the newly introduced Thorn Soul Bulb. That looks almost like a chakra fruit with a Renegan in the middle of it. The Thorn Soul Bulb is the fruit that was left behind after Boruto disintegrated Hidari using the Rasengan Uzuhiko, leaving him with the lower part of his body and his left arm destroyed, with only his torso and his head intact. But Kawaki stepped in and finished him off, leaving us with the Thorn Soul Bulb. Judging by Boruto's conversations with Kashin Koji, the Thorn Soul might be the key to saving Sasuke and also killing the Shinju permanently. My assumption is that the Thorn Soul is linked to the soul of the Shinju and the kilogram victim that the specific Shinju is a copy of. It might also be the source of the Shinju's power. The reason we can assume that the Thorn Soul is the source of the Shinju's power is because it is very similar to a chakra fruit. And one thing we know is that the Otsutsuki consume a chakra fruit in order to gain more power and become even more formidable. So if it turns out to be the case that the Thorn Soul is the source of the Shinju's power, and also the link between the Shinju's existence and the soul of the victim trapped in the kilogram tree, then this opens up new possibilities for Boruto to save all the shinobi trapped in the kilogram trees and also get rid of the Shinju for good. But not only is this a way to get rid of the Shinju and save Sasuke, this might be another way for Kawaki to gain the power that he needs to be able to get on Boruto's level. But before we get to that, we need to understand why destroying one of the Shinju produced a chakra fruit sort of thing, or the Thorn Soul, in the first place. The Shinju may be reincarnations of the Biju, but they are still divine trees. In the earlier chapters of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Jura referred to them as "we the divine trees" and stated that they exist to consume the chakra of all living things and eventually form a chakra fruit, which was the original point of their existence. Now that they have evolved and become the reincarnations of the Biju, they exist to do more than just consume all chakra, but it doesn't mean that they have forgotten about that goal. As soon as the Shinju believe that they have gathered all the knowledge that they have been seeking, they are still going to gather all the chakra from all living things. The fact that the Shinju are still divine trees, it means that they are going to produce something like a chakra fruit, and that is how the Thorn Soul Bulb came into existence. The Thorn Soul is essentially a new type of seed that is produced by a divine tree that has reincarnated into the humanoid version of a Biju. It might also have similar properties to a chakra fruit. The Biju is a seedling of a divine tree and turns into a divine tree when it is fed an Otsutsuki. That divine tree ends up producing a chakra fruit when it has collected enough chakra from all living things on the planet. So on that basis, it means that the Shinju being divine trees also means that they are collecting chakra. The chakra they are collecting is the chakra of the victims that are trapped in the kilogram trees. So that answers the question of how the Thorn Soul is the source of the Shinju's power and also the link between the Shinju and the kilogram victim. The Thorn Soul not only contains the genetic information of the kilogram victims, it also contains their chakra. The fact that the Shinju have been draining the chakra of the victims in the kilogram trees heavily implies that there is a high chance that this is the case. The Shinju's version of the chakra fruit is called the Thorn Soul Bulb, which is all the confirmation that we needed. A bulb is the dormant state of a plant seeds that contains the genetic information of the plant and whatever the plant needs in order for it to grow again whenever it is destroyed or it dies. So as long as the bulb of the plant doesn't get any damage or nothing happens to it, then it means the plant will never die. It is always going to grow back. So what Boruto needs to do in order to free Sasuke Uchiha from the kilogram tree is to destroy the Thorn Soul Bulb, or the Shinju are going to keep coming back, no matter how many times he destroys their physical bodies. I don't think there's any other way for Boruto to free the kilogram victims from their captivity unless he destroys the Thorn Soul or feeds it to the victim that the specific Shinju was a copy of. The reason I say he might need to make the victims eat the Thorn Soul is because it might be the only way to return the chakra to the victims and get them out of the kilogram trees. The fact that the Shinju's bulb is called the Thorn Soul and could contain the genetic information and chakra of the victims creates the possibility that there is a risk of killing the kilogram victims if you destroy the Thorn Soul of their Shinju. Hidari's Thorn Soul Bulb might be the link between Sasuke and Hidari's soul, and destroying it might have unintended consequences. Which is also the reason why Boruto couldn't just use his sword to cut down Sasuke from the kilogram tree. So feeding the Thorn Soul to the victim is also an option that can be explored in order to prevent that from happening, which in turn is also going to get rid of that Shinju. There's one thing that Boruto needs to be careful of, and that thing is Kawaki. Kawaki is currently at a position where he is powerless and can't even defend himself against the Shinju or even against Boruto. We know that Kawaki is being in a position of powerlessness, so he is going to be desperate to gain more power, and he is going to do it by any means necessary. One of those means is going to be consuming the Thorn Soul. The Otsutsuki have always gained more power by consuming a chakra fruit, so it is kind of inevitable that Kawaki is going to jump on the opportunity to gain more power by consuming the Thorn Soul Bulb. Most of us can imagine that consuming the Thorn Soul Bulb, which might be the superior form of the chakra fruit, is going to put Kawaki on the same level as Boruto or even higher than that. Getting a power boost using the Thorn Soul Bulb also works in Kawaki's favor, because he can avoid asking Amado to make him more powerful. Kawaki has always hated Amado, and the last thing he is going to want is to be at the mercy of Amado. So he is going to capitalize on the possibility of gaining power by consuming the Thorn Soul. The Thorn Soul he is going to consume is most likely going to be the Thorn Soul of Jura. Jura is the most powerful of the Shinju, and Kawaki is going to make sure that he gets the chakra of the most powerful Shinju in order to make sure that the power he gains will be enough. There's a lot that we don't know about the Thorn Soul or how Boruto is going to use it to save Sasuke. Another question that also needs to be answered is how Kashin Koji knew about the Thorn Soul and how much information he has on the Shinju. Kashin Koji stated that he has seen the Thorn Soul before, but we don't know when or where he saw it. We can only assume that he saw it when one of his toes was in the dimension where Jigen was keeping the Biju. Boruto used one of Kashin Koji's toes to tag code, so he can follow him to that dimension using the Flying Thunder Guard. That information gathering toad might have seen something interesting when it appeared at the side of the Biju. It was at the time that the Biju was still forming and evolving into the Shinju, so there's a big chance that the toad saw the Thorn Soul when the Shinju was still forming. The Thorn Soul might have been trapped in the ground, sort of like a root sprouting, which further emphasizes that the Shinju are still divine trees, meaning that they are still plants. The Thorn Soul is going to be a major plot point going forward into Blue Vortex. Its existence is going to cause a chain reaction that will trigger a lot of events that will either end up with Boruto saving Sasuke or Kawaki getting in the way of that and consuming Jura's Thorn Soul in order to gain more power. That is if Kawaki doesn't go to Amado first to ask him for a power boost, or Amado doesn't approach him with a proposition. Another unpredictable fact is Momoshiki getting awakened in Boruto and also start going after the Shinju's Thorn Soul. Let me know what your thoughts are on the newly introduced Thorn Soul Bulb, and make sure to check out this video on how Amado is going to trick Kawaki into resurrecting his daughter Akibi by exploiting Kawaki's desperation for power. Also make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Boruto content.